May the genuine noble wishes of all of you be fulfilled. Something I hope all of you will like. After that, I would like to recite 3 times the auspicious monosyllable called Omkara. But mind you, this is not a religious recitation at all. I am not going to talk anything in the way of religion or even God. Our subject is clear that it is Dharma, a Sanskrit word, equivalent to something like ethics and higher law, you can say, though there is no English equivalent to it. The monosyllable Om consists of 3 individual syllables. A, the one that comes out of the mouth when you keep the lips open, wide open. And the last of it is the sound that issues from the human mouth when the lips are tightly closed. All other syllables and sounds, insofar as human articulation is concerned, fall within these 2, mouth open and mouth closed. So literally speaking, A, U, together become Om. This represents the entire gamut of knowledge that the human intelligence has been able to evolve and has been able to express through articulation. In other words, these 3 syllables represent the 3 mental states that we have. One is the wakeful state, another is the sleep state, and the third is the dream state. Our entire life consists of these 3 and 3 alone. For everyone in this human world, life is an expression and extension of these 3 fundamental inner conscious states. This Om represents these 3. Nevertheless, it has got great biological effect on the human system and also psycho-intellectual and psycho-psychic effects. The pineal gland, located a little deeper here, its secretion will be enhanced and it will have a 3-fold effect. It is anti-cancerous, anti-aging, and also anti-tension. The biological heart also will be activated and will be strengthened by the Omkara utterance. So far as we are concerned, we consider it to be a very auspicious monosyllable, the utterance or recitation of which will have a sublime and salubrious effect on our own human system and its working. By this chorus recitation, we also expect a very important austere effect in the way of, let the chorus sound outstrip the boundaries of this hall. This city, megapolis so to say, metropolis, and let it not merely permeate the whole of Kerala as a state or India as a subcontinent. I would like this influence to be spreading and permeating in the whole universe to create a sublime and quietening effect. We are in the midst of great stresses, strains, challenges and persecutions. The only way we can try to create a kind of a counter element is using our inner resources and manifest and display them towards a better situation. It is with this in mind that I exhort all of you to join me in reciting this Om 3 times. Do you agree or disagree? Please lift your hands. Very good, auspicious. So I will chant the verse and also recite. I would like all of you to close your eyes when I recite it. Interlock your fingers and put them on your lap. Sit comfortably erect, not painfully. Open your eyes and open your heart, closing the eyes. You will not be seen by others and you will also not see others. But I must be satisfied that the entire august assembly has participated in this chorus recitation. So at least do not make me disappointed. So I shall start. Yam Shaiva Samupasate Shiva iti Brahmeti Vedantino Bauddha Buddha iti Pramana Padavaha Karteti Nayayiga Arhan Nityatha Jaina Shasanarata Karmeti Mimamsaga Soyamvo Vidadhatu Vanchita Phalam Trailokyanato Harihi Soyamvo Vidadhatu Vanchita Phalam Trailokyanato Harihi Harihi. Oh, that's. Now we shall start 3 times. With me. Absolutely inadequate. Why are you all shy and reluctant? This is a very great holy occasion. Your own forefathers would be very happy and blessing you from the unseen heights. And the coming generations will also be extremely grateful to you for your having participated in this beautiful Benedictine chorus recitals. So, shed your shyness and reluctance and join me. Don't miss this opportunity. 2 more times. Much better, I am happy, but it has to be super best. Last. Very good, I am happy. Let me first of all greet you all, this august assembly of enquirers, seekers, and also lovers of Dharma. It is very rare to have an assembly as august as this is. I greet you all in the name of and also in the name of intelligence, the most potent creation of nature. Unfortunately, we are yet to know the majesty, the magnificence and splendor of human intelligence, what it is capable of doing, working, both in the object front externally and in the subject front internally. I will firmly stand on the grounds of knowledge and the intelligence, the factor, the inner constituent of the human personality, by the might of which, by the function of which, by the pursuit of which we are able to get at deeper and deeper layers of knowledge. Whatever I say will certainly be on the basis of knowledge and also on the basis of human intelligence. Normally, I will tell people, don't mortgage your intelligence while listening to discourses like this. You have to use your intelligence and understand. We have chosen the subject Dharma, the key to social or societal welfare. This particular subject has been selected by the citizens of Kerala, the citizens of Ernakulam, Kochi, particularly those who represent law on the one hand and jurisprudence on the other. I was very happy, I never said anything at all. Dharma, the key for societal welfare, is a subject. Our Sridharanji already told you that Dharma is a Sanskrit word and it has got no English equivalent, though he presented a word. It is a Sanskrit word, and Sanskrit is a national language of our country. This particular word is derived from the root dhr or dhari. It means to sustain, to protect, to preserve and to uphold. So the word dharma means that kind of a pursuit, a process or a perseverance by virtue of which our life will be sustained in any situation, be it favorable or unfavorable. We have so many laws and processes and procedures if you look around in nature. We have got physical substances here. Earth is a solid substance, water is fluid, air is gaseous. These are the three forms of matter. Then we have energy represented by fire, and thereafter we have space which hosts all these four. We have clearly seen that the entire world visible before us, sensorily perceptible for us, consists of only matter and energy, the Panchabhutas. These Panchabhutas are also embodied in the human personality. But understand, our personality is a composite one, and it has got two counterparts. One is the physical gross external one, consisting of matter and energy. Both of them do not have any power to think, feel, understand, memorize, generate emotions, raise questions and doubts, conduct inquiries and arrive at findings. At the same time, we are people who have all these and these alone. So our body is only an instrument at best in the hands of the inner personality. The inner personality consists of, for the time being, a feelingful and emotional mind and an investigating and knowing rational intelligence. This mind intelligence, these two factors constitute the inner personality. The entire body along with all its organs are only employed at every time by the mind and the intelligence. Do you agree or disagree? Huh? Why are you keeping quiet? Our body is inert. The entire Panchabhutas are insentient. They have nothing like the coordinate of consciousness, whereas we are conscious. The consciousness does not belong to the body. Neither the mind nor the intelligence is a part of the body, because the body is matter energy aggregate. The mind and intelligence are associated with the body, but they are not physical parts of the body. A proposition which may appear strange to you, but it has to become familiar provided you take to introspection and your own reflection on the subject. We have so many laws operating in this world. Physical laws, chemical laws, biophysical laws, biochemical laws and biological laws. All these are operating in our body. Now I ask you something. What are the laws pertaining to the inner personality of man? The emotional mind, the rational intelligence and the spiritual ego, so to say. What are the laws? If in our own personality we have physical, biophysical, etc. laws operating in the peripheral level, in the outermost level, what are the laws operating inside in the sphere of the mind? Dharma discovers these laws, has discovered. Not merely discovered, Dharma has realized these laws. And Dharma clearly reveals them, understand them. Here it is. Just like the physical laws, the chemical laws and the other laws cannot be violated except with danger and calamity. The inner laws are even stronger, deeper and more subtle, so to say. Any violation of the inner laws pertaining to the mind and the intelligence will have colossal consequences. And it is these consequences that the society is suffering from now. But this suffering is not something new. Look into the annals of the cultural history of the country. Take Ramayana. What was the situation in Rama's time? Come very close to us in Mahabharata. The decline and fall of the Kuru dynasty is depicted by Vyasadeva, who is presenting before us the story and the behavioral patterns of 8 generations, including himself. 6 generations from him downward and 2 generations above him. 8 generations of human behavior he is presenting in Mahabharata. This was written at least 5,152 years back. My dear souls, I will not allow any one of you to escape from this hall. Except after admitting that Mahabharata is a documented product. It contains 1,25,000 Sanskrit verses. All of them have been preserved by countless generations in our society. It is not like history books remaining in the shelves. We have read them. We wanted to imbibe them. We wanted to pursue them, perfect them, and thereafter we wanted to bequeath them. Like that, for more than 1500 generations, ever since it was written, we have preserved, cherished, and we have been nourished by this documented cultural history. Some Chinese travelers came here and they scribbled something. It becomes the history, sacred history for our people. What about the Sanskrit? 1,25,000 verses documented, which we have preserved without a change of syllable, without a change of word. Even now the original scripture, written and dictated by Vyasadeva, is available before us. In the whole of Mahabharata, there is only one subject discussed, Dharma. Yato dharma, tato jayaha. Where Dharma is, there victory is. Where Dharma is flouted and disregarded, there will be destruction, calamity and downfall. This is what is depicted, demonstrated, explained, argued out, rationalized in the whole of the Mahabharata narration. Now, here is a celebrated statement by Vyasadeva himself. What does he say? Dharma eva hato hanti, dharmo rakshati rakshidaha. When Dharma is protected and preserved, it will protect and sustain us. When it is disregarded and neglected, it will destroy us. So the option is very clearly before all of you, my dear souls. Do you want your life to be sustained and protected, preserved and upheld? Then hold on to Dharma. Dharma is impersonal. It does not have a personality. It is not a solid substance. It is not sensorily perceptible. But it is rationally explorable and spiritually realizable. It is very, very clear in its expression, in its manifestation. Where the material, physical and other laws end, there the spiritual laws of Dharma take over. This is what I have to say. What is this Dharma? In a practical way, I would like to say it is a combination. What kind of a combination? A sublime and exquisite combination of values on the one hand, disciplines, restraints, regulations, refinements, all of them put together. And the intention of Dharma is to bestow contentment and fulfillment. This is the crowning glory of human life. We want to live with contentment, with satisfaction. Overwhelming satisfaction we want to have. Without satisfaction it is not possible to live. And we must also be able to drop our body with a feeling of having fulfilled the mission called human life. We are not like the animals. The animals are not able to think, not able to articulate. We have the power of thought, the power of speech, the power of expression. We have the power of sharing whatever we have with the others. With these additional qualities, skills and potentials that we have, what is it that we mean to live in this world? We cannot live as animals do or birds do. There must be that human elegance. How can this elegance be had? I generally use three phrases in this context. We must always have characteral elegance, behavioral majesty and interactional excellence. The sole purpose of Dharma is to make you a seeker of these three. Let your character be elegant, impeccable. Your character should be such that even the enemy will appreciate you. After Ravana was vanquished, Rama went near him. Ravana lies flat. He told him, you are a great emperor, my dear Ravana. In a few moments, your life forces will depart from your body, I agree. You had a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience. Can you give me anything in the way of a monumental lesson? Do you have a message? He asked. Ravana had a message and he imparted it. He said, Shubhasya Shighram, Ashubhasya Kalaharanam. Whatever you propose to do, nice, good and noble, do it immediately without procrastination, postponement. And whatever bad, if you want to scold somebody or impute motives to the others, postpone it. Not today, tomorrow, and postpone it for the next life. This is what Ravana said. What do you think of the character of Rama? They were enemies, so to say, till one was subdued. After that, the whole enmity is gone. We can imbibe a lesson from anybody. If the dead body were to speak to us, we will also seek lessons from the dead body. This is called the character of elegance. I can tell you more of these instances. When we were coming, my disciple Swamiji, Swami Nirvisheshanandaji, who was seated with me, Swamiji, whenever you speak of these things, you should explain to the people one important point. I am not speaking to you anything from mythology. Mythological compositions are called Puranas, where the characters are all divine. They are called angels, gods and goddesses. We have only two epics in contrast. One is Ramayana, which depicts the life story, the life narration about the prince and king Rama. There is no other discussion in Ramayana. The prince Rama and the king Rama who ruled the country, he was a human being, like every one of you, every one of us. He had a biological body, he had a psychological mind, he had a rational intelligence, he had an ego and also the supreme self. These constituents are fully there in you and me. Rama was nothing plus and you are nothing minus. Rama was nothing plus and you are nothing minus. Take Einstein, take Newton, take Faraday. All the people in this world had only one body, one mind, one intelligence, one ego, and the self denoted by the term I. Tell me whether any one of you are deficient in these constituents of the personality. They used their mind. They achieved excellence of the mind and the heart, mind and the intelligence. We are unable to, if at all. But whatever they achieved, we also can achieve. So Dharma is nothing other than disciplines and values. So far as values are concerned, when two or more people live together, values are indispensable. If a single person alone were there in this world, no question of value, norm or restraint. When two or more people live together, automatically restraint, mutuality, collectivity, etc. become indispensable. Our ancient thinkers living on the Gangetic plains, mark my expression. They were living on the Gangetic plains because it was a perennial river. They started thinking about the so-called Dharma. And their thoughts were not merely just law and legal system. There is a difference between law and Dharma. So they started probing into it. Now, in order to probe into Dharma, you have to get into your own mind and intelligence. The entire world consists of matter and energy, I said. Our body also has these. But inside our body, there is a beautiful inner personality which we call mentation, intellection, assertion, etc. That has got to be understood properly. Our Dharma takes into consideration the entire human personality, where the mind comes, the intelligence comes, the ego comes, and even the beyond comes. And then they found out what is that rhythm of life. What is that rhythm of life which will conform to the rhythm of the complex sentient nature, by virtue of which we can live attuned to nature and be glorious, successful and fulfilled. Am I clear in my expressions? Are you with me? Yes or no? Please tell me very clearly. There are so many legal books, so many enactments the parliament is enacting every year. The state assemblies are also enacting every year. Is it anything like Dharma? Do they go into the inner constitution, the inner personality of man? As long as you don't probe into the inner, the sentient aspects of nature, how can our evolution, discovery, how can our assessment be perfect? Luckily and fortunately, our people were able to evolve by delving deeply into themselves. It was not an invention, mind you, it was a discovery, it was an uncovering. They started going into Where from are the thought processes evolving? Where is this rationality emerging from? What is the so-called ego? Is there anything beyond? What happens to me when I sleep? What happens to me when I am wakeful? I wake up, then I see the world. The world doesn't see me at all. Am I clear? I wake up. My wakefulness is not depending upon the world. I wake up. I activate my senses. I begin to see. I continue to hear. I have smell, touch, etc. So the entire world perception and world interaction depend completely upon my wakefulness. So what is the source? Is the world the source? It is an effect. And what is the cause? My senses, my sensoriness, my wakefulness. In the same manner as I am wakeful, I also go to sleep. I can block and wipe off the entire wakeful functions and memories and I go to sleep. In sleep, I alone am. Are you with me? Are you with me? I am. Nothing else is with me. I have no body. I have no mind. I have no intelligence. I have no ego. Not to speak of the world around. I, the subject, alone am. The entire world is an object to me. The object has evolved from the subject, not the subject has evolved from the object. If object were fulcrumatic, then I would not have left the object and gone to myself into sleep to say, I slept. Sleep is an intransitive word. There was no object implied there at all. They were delving into this, and it is from there that they discovered. What they discovered, they experienced, they realized it, and then they started revealing it, and all their interactions were sublimated, enriched, empowered, enlightened, elevated, and fulfilled thereafter. This is what happened to them. This is what we call dharma and dharma. We have a concept in law, I believe, though I am not a lawyer myself, there is something called higher law. Higher law. Not things which are written there. Some of the judges are able to hit upon it. When case laws are presented before them, suddenly they will come out with some statements on some occasions. I happened to read a judgment from Bombay High Court. It was a few years back. It was a dispute, a very strange dispute, where a husband says, the child born after my marriage from my wife is not mine. What is that? A child born of my wife after my marriage is not mine. And he was prepared to undertake something like DNA tests, etc. I don't remember the whole case, but I read one and I appreciated it. The court seems to have said that the courts are reluctant to pronounce any kind of a verdict which will deny the child fatherhood. What do you say about it? We are not going into the genesis of the factor. We will not allow any DNA test. Suppose the DNA test proves that it is not the father's, the husband's, we cannot accept it. Here is a question, a child is before us. Should the child have a father or not? So we will not entertain any kind of a plea, any kind of an argument which will deny the child a fatherhood. Just imagine, this is called the higher law. Maybe I am right or maybe wrong. So there are instances, finally, when our mind, when our intelligence will have to respond to situations and evolve what is necessary. I would like to bless all the members of the judiciary so that while the country is passing through a crisis, we must understand what a number of items depend upon the jurisprudence here. Our judiciary should assert its position. They should apply their mind, get them divinized and spiritual, and pronounce the best of judgments to ensure the welfare of the society. They should not look at anybody at all. The seat of justice is honorable, great, impeccable. Let them derive the authority. Like Krishna standing on the chariot, holding the horse's reins, turning uncomfortably back to the sitting Arjuna, and he began to speak. They must be able to deliver any judgment when called for. When I explain Dharma in this manner, Do you mean to say that it's only a concept? It is a concept, like any other concept and word, and we have to define it. We have to explain it. And we have to stipulate or lay down tenets and propositions which will ensure that you are dharmic and the society is dharmic. In Dharma you will find we probe into the whole creation, the material and other creation, until at last we are able to reach the finale of substances. At present in Europe they are going into the final particle or other things. Our Dharma is not a particle, nor is it a wave. It is something entirely different, where we go into the genesis of everything and the ultimate of everything. We have discovered it, and that is that I factor in us. Right from the beginning, at the age of 2, we started saying I. Even at 92, even Justice Krishna here said I, sitting here, 100 years old. Now the same I he has uttered now, which he started uttering when he was 2 years old. Everything has changed in him, in the whole world, but the I does not change. This is the only changeless ultimate factor and existence in the whole world. Our Dharma is based upon this imperishable consciousness denoted by the term I. Because it is based upon this imperishable consciousness, mind you, our Dharma became eternal. Am I clear? Am I clear? If our Dharma were something like transitory laws enacted by the parliament and the state assemblies, they continue to pass legislations. Every year they pass legislations. And why after 67 years the society is not what we want? Is it due to lack of law? Is it due to lack of legislation? Or is it due to what? You tell me. So laws are inadequate, you understand. A law is promulgated by a king or passed democratically by a parliamentary or an assembly institution. And they continue to pass laws. They come into effect only when a crime or a violation is done, not before that. Am I clear? Huh? The law will wait for, commit a crime, then we will come. Now we want a practice whereby commission of crimes will be eliminated. We have got a Preventive of Corruption Act. What is the year? I don't remember. Prevention of Corruption Act 1988 or so. The act, if it has to be true and effective, we will have to practice Dharma, then only this preventional process will be on. How Dharma acts, it is something very, very important to know. Dharma has got a number of tenets, but they can be simplified also. Shall I tell you a Sanskrit poem which simplifies the entire Dharma? Shuyadam dharma sarvasvam sutva jaiva avadharyatam atmana pratigulani paresham na samacharet. The entire Dharma, gamut of Dharma, listen to me, listen here and retain it in yourself and adhere to it, conform to it, pursue it. What is that? Whatever you consider to be harmful to you or derogatory to you, do not inflict it on another. This is all Dharma. Whatever you will not like to be done to you, do not do it to the others. This is the entire genesis of Dharma, the entire gamut of Dharma. About Dharma, it is not an option, it is a compulsion. It is an inevitable pursuit, provided you understand it. What is that? Dharma eva hadohandi dharmo rakshati rakshidaha. Only when you uphold Dharma and preserve and embody Dharma, it will come to your rescue. What is this Dharma? Here are a few tenets, listen to. Satyan nasti paro dharma. There is no Dharma superior to truthfulness. When I ask you a question, what is your name? How many answers are there? What is your age? Who is your father? Who is your mother? How far have you studied? Have you eaten this morning? Are you married? How many children do you have? A 1,000 rupee note is given. You give it for exchange. They will give you 500 plus altogether 1,000 rupees. There is a board on the bus saying that it will go there. You enter into the bus, pay the fare, you are taken. Go to the railway station, purchase a ticket. You are given a ticket for a travel after a month. You go there to the railway station, a berth is reserved in your name. Tell me, all this is truthfulness or untruthfulness? Boliye na. Truthfulness. Where is this untruthfulness? Our earth is revolving in its trajectory, taking 24 hours. Has it ever failed or deflected its path? Our heart goes on beating. Has it failed? Truthfulness is the rhythm of life. Satyan nasti paro dharma. Ahimsa paramo dharma. Non-hurtingness is the supreme dharma. Dharma himsa tathaivaja. But righteous murder or harming is also correct. Ahimsa paramo dharma. Dharma himsa tathaivaja. There are instances where our surgeons amputate the leg or the arm. In our ashram, a person was brought. He lost his hand. And he has put on, from the thigh, the leg is amputated. He has got some clippings, etc. to be operated. And he can fold it. He can, mechanically he folds. There is a gap between the upper portion and the lower portion. And he is holding a pen in this finger and he is writing. These fingers are not there. These three. So he was amputated as a result of an accident. That amputation also is a himsa, but it is a dharmic himsa that can be done. A soldier is in front, a counter soldier, an enemy is there. They are supposed to fight. That is what Arjuna did. So understand dharma himsa tathaivacha. Then what is your opposition to dharma? Because Swamiji, we want to be prosperous in this world, successful in this world. We have a number of ambitions, desires to be fulfilled. Is not to be dharmic a hindrance to this? Please understand me. Please understand the words of Vyasadeva. He is raising his hands and crying aloud. What? Dharmadarthascha kamascha. Are you following me? From dharma arises wealth. And from wealth arises enjoyment of desires. Dharmad, from dharma, prosperity occurs. And fulfillment of desires follows. These are the two things you want in life. You want to be prosperous, follow dharma. If you become prosperous flouting dharma, you will find it is a criminal wealth, injurious to your own children and suicidal to the grandchildren. If you want to have wealth, earn it properly and well. Earn the whole world, we have no objection. But be dharmic. So from dharma follows wealth, and from wealth follows fulfillment of desires. Even then, why are people not following dharma? Vedavyasa is crying in Mahabharata. We have adopted a motto. It is not a lawful motto or a legal motto at the time of independence, in the wake of independence. That is Satyameva Jayate. Truthfulness alone wins. That gives me the power and propulsion for all of us to follow the course of dharma. Understand it. This is from Mundakopanishad. The next phrase is Nandridam. Untruthfulness will never win. Now the practical tenets of dharma, if you want me to let you know, is there are 5. Ahimsa, Satyam, Asteyam, Shaujam, Indriya Nigraha, Etat Samasigam Dharmam, Chadurvarne, Abraveen Manuhu. There are only 5 fundamental and interactional principles. Ahimsa, do not hurt another person, either by thought or by word or by action. Be amiable, be loving, be friendly, be considerate, be compassionate, be involving. Let all people say that you are a good man, beautiful person, nice person, very good, amiable. So ahimsa, satyam, I need not explain, be honest and true. Asteyam, never rob the property of another. Means what? Never take an article, either in kind or otherwise, which is belonging to another person without his permission. This applies to bribery also. After all, when there is national wealth and the wealth is mishandled or misappropriated, what is the extent of thieving that is involved? All the scams that we are hearing about, Next day you should put up a board, X, the murderous thief that we know. What is meant by scam? The wealth or the property belonging to our nation, to the people, it has been taken away improperly. That is called stealing. Stealing. This stealing can be of a miniature level. It can be micro or macro level. Everything is stealing. Asteyam. Tell the children, never take an article belonging to another. Teach them. In the schools and the colleges, it should be further discussed in a higher and elevated manner. Shaujam, be clean. You know how much I am pained. In Kerala, in Trichure or anywhere, garbage, garbage, garbage. I am telling some of the engineers, do we not have chemical engineers here? Do we not have other experts? Should we not learn to look after our garbage? I am told that garbage from Kerala is being transported to Tamil Nadu. Are you not ashamed? Do you have a Keralite pride? Do you have it? I create garbage and I put it on your head. Let us understand waste disposal is a must and we must be able to handle it well. There are so many brains here. Let us make a resolution. Teach the people to bifurcate, to separate the biodegradable and the non-degradable. And let us tell them, if you have a ground, bury them there itself. Never leave your garbage outside unattended to. You should take it as a call if you have come to listen to this talk. I am tired of hearing this. Unclean people, civic sense is not there. The Western country and Western people are much, much better. When are we going to have this civic sense for us? We are a country, spiritual country, I agree. Spirituality is there because we have to tolerate all these things. See, because of spiritual wisdom I am breathing. Otherwise, seeing all these things, my heart would have bled, I would have died long back. So let us understand, cleanliness means cleanliness outside, in the bodily level, in your house level, the roads, public articles, everything should be kept clean. And then indriya nigraha, have sensory control. All the corruptions that we are hearing about are because of greed. Greed. Greed for what? Can you eat for 2 mouths? Huh? Can you sleep on 2 cots? Can you sit on 2 chairs? Can you dress for 2 bodies? The other day, a middle-aged woman came. I was inquiring about, she is a social worker, how do you carry on? Swamiji, our expenses are minimum. How much? 8,000 rupees and we have it. So I do all my work. This is the way we have to think. Indriya nigraha. Your senses should be under your control. Your senses cannot be under the control of world objects. No. One Sita looked at a golden deer. Everybody knew that golden deer is impossible. Instead of that, despite that, Janaki fell in love with the golden deer. She told Rama. Rama also was seduced, so to say. Then what happened? Rama went away. Within half an hour, Sita became a slave of Ravana. This is the story of lack of sense restraint. What was there for Sita to be enamored of? Asambhavam hema mrigasya janma tathabhiramo lulubhe mrigaya. Our poets will not spare anybody at all. Many people may be Rama worshippers, but here is a poet who sings, here is a Swami who speaks. What is that? What is that? Asambhavam hema mrigasya janma. A golden deer is impossible. It is a witchcraft. Tathabi, even then, Ramo lulubhe mrigaya. He developed a greed for the golden deer. In 15 minutes, half an hour, enslaved that wife. Was it necessary, you tell me? Now this is what our Dharma says. Now you tell me whether Dharma is practical or not. Is it practical? It is completely resting upon 5 fundamental tenets. Now Janaka asked Ashtavakra Maharshi, what are the virtues to be adopted by the human being, even the king? Ashtavakra Maharshi says very clearly, Mukti michhasi chettada vishayan vishavatyaja kshamarjavadaya tosha satyam piyushavadbhaja. What you have to do is drop your craze and craving for the external things in this world. Instead of that, develop inner virtues, virtues bearing upon your mind and intelligence. What are they? Kshama, patience and tolerance. Arjava, straightforwardness. Daya, compassion. Tosha, contentment. Satya, truthfulness. Is there any difference between these? One happened in Treta Yuga with Janaka. Another, Manu has written in his Manusmriti. This Smriti is the embodiment of Dharma. Smriti and laws, they were running parallelly. Laws were promulgated in the monarchical times by the king. Apart from the laws promulgated, they were also observing the tenets of Dharma as prescribed in our Smritis and Dharma Shastras. Similarly, in our country, what is the solution? The parliamentarians, the assembly members, the bureaucrats, the judiciary, everyone should understand that laws are there in their domain. Dharma is sovereign in its domain. Dharma is supposed to penetrate into the mind and generate a sublime persuasion, dissuasion when that is called for. To give you a very good example, Ratnakara, who himself is the author of Ramayana, he became Valmiki. He was a forest dacoit. And he was doing his dacoity, looking after children. One day a set of rishis passed by. He thought, today is a very good bounty for me. And when he attempted to rob them, they looked at him compassionately. In that one look, this man got transformed. By a look, there ensued a conversation. See, you are robbing. It is actually a sinful, a vicious profession. Do you know that whatever be the nature of your work, that work has got a categorization ethically, good or bad, virtuous or vicious. This is also to be considered by a human being. Is it so? He asked. So what is it that I am doing? Very sinful. So there is a consequence for it, an adversity for it. You go and ask I am robbing because I have no other income. I have to look after my wife and children. Okay, you go and ask them whether they will share your sinful consequence. He ran to be told by them, no, we will not. You have married me, you have children, to look after them is your job. If you are unfair or wrong or sinful in your profession, we are not going to be partakers of it. He came back and reported. And then, what shall I do now? This sinfulness which is seated in your mind has to be replaced by virtuousness, fondness, love and compassion. What is the way to do it? Sink into your own heart and come afresh, have a fresh birth. This is what Maharshi said. I am speaking this, I am not telling you a story. I am talking to you with a modern, present day relevance. Understand, the ancient man had the same body, senses, mind, intelligence and ego. The most modern man also has the same. Have our eyes increased? Have we a third eye? Do you have one more finger? One more leg? So body remains the same, mind remains the same, intelligence remains the same, everything is the same. So the dharma that was applicable and relevant to the past is equally applicable to the present. It is eternal. So the same dharma which had an impact, the Maharshis did not bring a chain, they did not call for the police, they did not report the matter to the king also. They simply awakened him, aroused in him a moral and an ethical sense, a dharmic persuasion, so to say, and his system responded to it. Any value, when you explain properly and effectively, it will instantly generate a twofold response from you. How many times shall I say this? Any value or a norm, if you explain it properly, you will find it will instantly evoke a twofold response from the listener or reader. One is an emotional persuasion to accept it and a rational compulsion to adhere to it. So when they explain the dharma, the ethics of life, the ethics of human behavior, the elegance of human conduct, that kind of a behavior and character which will edify a human upon this earth and take him to fulfillment, the dacoit heart responded overwhelmingly. Am I right or not? Huh? Am I right or not? My dear souls, your hearts also will respond. I am yet to find a person who will not respond. This is how Dharma works. So our Prevention of Corruption Act is not going to be successful unless all the people in this country start feeling for Dharma and there is a wave of dharmicness in the country. People should start feeling for it. National fondness for Dharma, governance, ethics in governance, ethics in family life, ethics in conjugal life, ethics in educational life, in teaching life, ethics in disciple life, students' life. Unless we are able to invade the whole society with ethics and Dharma, there is no salvation for it at all. But our Dharma has to be pursued in an effective manner. We have a celebrated verse which I would like you to understand. Hridayedu kritagrityatvad tredayam nripasasanaihi dvabare tarkachaduryahi sanghe shaktihi kalau yuge. In the Krita Yuga, everyone was personally motivated. You did not have to tell anybody, do this, do this, do this. In doing, they found their fulfillment. The mother was fulfilled by looking after the child. The child was fulfilled by listening to the mother. The teacher was happy. He opened the doors, invited students. His children and the others' children, he taught alike and he was happy. No remuneration was sought. Are you with me or away from me? Huh? It is not like the present teachers who pay money to get appointed and you take salary. No salary was mentioned. I have the knowledge. I have the love for teaching. I have been a moving university for the past 58 years. But there is no fee for the entrance into my university. No age limit also. All people come there and we freely give. We conducted a corporate workshop from 9 to 5:30 in Jamshedpur. 85 applicants were there. We selected only first 35. We did not want to have more. And we taught them, sent them away in the evening, gave them food and drink also. There was no stipulation like give me this money, that money. All of them went away. We presented them with some books also. It is a free giving. Vyaye kritaye vardhatayeva nityam vidyadhanam sarvadhanat pradhanam. The more you spend, the more it increases. Vidya is such a bounteous wealth. It will never be exhausted. So there is a joy. There is a joy. That joy was there in Krita Yuga. The Yuga passed. The world is not a granite stone. It will go on transforming. In Treta Yuga, Nripa Shasana was necessary. The order and promulgation by a king was necessary in Treta Yuga. When it came to Dwapara Yuga, even that collapsed. There was a rivalry between Yudhishthira brothers and Duryodhana brothers. Bhishma and the others could not set them right at all. The country or the kingdom was partitioned. Even then it did not stop. So, Dwapare Tarkachaduryahi. Draupadi was dragged into the Kuru open assembly. All her husbands were enslaved. Nobody was there to rescue her or the husbands. This lady single-handedly was being drawn and drawn for hours together in the Kuru assembly. But she raised a point of ethics and propriety and dharma. My husband had already lost himself by staking him. When he lost himself, my opponents pointed to me saying that Draupadi remains independently, you stake her again, they said. So because they have said it, I was remaining sovereign, independent. Being independent, I contend that my husband who had already lost his independence had no right to stake me at all. So I am independent, she said. I want an answer from this assembly. Nothing came out. Nobody was able to give an answer. Bhishma said, I acknowledge the dispute, but I deny a verdict. I don't know. Just imagine. Please come along with me to that Dwapara Yuga assembly. Can you imagine? If a thorn pricks our foot, we start saying, oh God, what is this? She was dragged for 3-4 hours in that open assembly with a single dress. She was lying on the floor. When matters came to this climax and there was no human solution, Dharma produced a new solution, providential. Mind you, the whole planets and heavenly bodies have come from somewhere. This is visible matter. From the earth, we intelligent people have evolved. So within the earth also the same inner consciousness, majesty should be there. Am I talking sense or nonsense to you? There is nothing in the effect which is not there in the cause. Don't say that the earth is totally inert. We have all emerged from there. So when there was no visible solution, she was looking to the invisible. You know what happened? Suddenly, kites and eagles started flying over the Agnihotra hall. And donkeys started producing uncomfortable, pathetic cries. Listening to and being reported of all these, Dhritarashtra suddenly called Draupadi and said, "You are the best of my daughters-in-law. Nothing has gone wrong. You are sovereign. Ask for 3 boons," he said. Now ask for a boon. Then she said, "My husband should be made free." Okay, I am happy I have freed him. Ask for the second boon. His brothers also should be freed. Second boon. Ask for the third. I will not ask. It is greed to seek a third boon. My dear souls, are you with me or not? The same mind you have. The same mind. I am not telling you of a history of the past. I am speaking you about the majesty of human behavior. The potential that is contained within the mind. The potential within matter. I am not referring to a second factor. Draupadi's moral and ethical insistence, that dharmic persistence, that unrelenting, obstinate adherence, that quality produced a solution. When the visible world failed, the invisible world appeared there. Nobody knows this story at all. Nobody knows this story. They say she was given dress by Krishna, etc. Krishna comes and says, "I never knew about it. If I had known about it, I would have stopped it. I was engaged in some other place. When I came to know, suddenly I have rushed to the forest to make enquiries and express my grievances, etc." So it is all misunderstood, not clearly known. So in Dwapara Yuga started this rationalized demand. When we are in Kali Yuga, this single demand will not be sufficient. I will not be able to bring about a dharmic revolution in the country all by myself, a Bhoomananda Swami. But if all of you will come together with me, I am about 5,000 or 10,000, I shall change the plight and fate of the country. Because it is a collective demand, either demand or resistance that brings about. We had a talk with some of the central ministers. They say, we want to bring about changes, but we have no public support. What is public support? Some people should join together with an umbrella or with a stick, something like that, a banner, and then say, we want this, we want this. That is what is necessary. So a collective representation in a constitutional and peaceful and democratic manner is necessary to bring about a dharmic change. Even now, the super majority of our country are not interested in Dharma. Super majority, I say. Let there be at least a few people who are prepared to come in the open and say this is right and that is wrong. Automatically, democratic response is there very much in our cabinet, ministers and the others. Because they are elected by the people. When a section of the people revolt or they resist, automatically they will heed. So that collectiveness is very, very important. We have got 4 ashramas. Brahmacharya, education. Married life, the second one. The third and fourth are renunciation. When the children become old, you keep away, entrusting the burden to them. Your wife or husband can accompany you. If you are successful in keeping away, you can become a sannyasi. And all the 4 are prescribed for all of you. Now, what I want to tell you in the name of our dharma is that most of you are satisfied with the first 2. You don't bother about the third and the fourth. So you are going to die as half humans. Do you like it or not? We have got 4 ashramas. All are ashramas. You call only the sannyasin's place as ashrama and you call yourself as different. Understand that the brahmacharya is an ashrama, very sacred and sublime. Householder life is equally sublime and sacred. Similarly, you should step into that superannuation state voluntarily, not involuntarily. Even now, all the people especially in the higher brackets and chief people, after retirement. We have got a Kerala governor from where? See, everybody after retirement, they never retire. The chief secretary or secretary, he expects a further posting. See, something or the other. Let us voluntarily retire. This is the call of Dharma, exhortation of Dharma. We should understand it. So our Dharma is involving, possessing and possessing, okay. It is equally dispossessing and leaving. If these 4 ashramas are accepted by all of you, our country will be the most safe. Let us understand that a Vanaprastha and Sannyasa, both of them are earmarked for us. We are supposed to take it up. This Vanaprastha and Sannyasa are characterized by contentment and ecstasy. How many times shall I say this? Contentment is a prerogative of the mind. The mind produces contentment. Joy is an emotion. The emotion belongs to the mind. It's an evolute or a creation of the mind. Keeping the mind, you should never beg for joy. So make your mind refined enough, pure enough, celebrated enough, expansive enough, exalted enough, lofty enough to generate and present all throughout contentment. This is what anchorites and sannyasins we people get. The first object of wealth, what is wealth for? Dhanam cha dharmai kaphalam yato vai. The purpose of wealth is to acquire knowledge. And the purpose of knowledge is to gain shanti, peacefulness and contentment. These are the tenets of Dharma. Understand it very well. In the present day governance, what do you find? We only have law and order. That is insufficient. Law and order should run parallel to Dharma. And Dharmic exposure, Dharmic lessons and Dharmic training should be right from the kindergarten classes it should start. On the home front it should be vibrant. In the primary classes it should be vibrant. And greater exposure should be there even up to the postdoctoral research. A girl came to our ashram. I want to be admitted to a PhD course. I don't have money, Swamiji. How much money do you need? 10,000 rupees. She is a brahmachari, so I pursued her. What is this? Being a brahmachari, why do you want to take a PhD degree? What is the subject? Bhagavad Gita. This Bhagavad Gita, she want to write a thesis and some professor will have to value it. Is Bhagavad Gita supposed to be like that? Can you not learn it from an ashram? Go to a good person either in the south or in the north. She did not. I gave her the money and asked her to get admitted. So what I want to tell you is, we must be very clear. We only have laws and orders. In this girl, there must be some enquiry that is always necessary. We are asking a question. Does Dharma have a role in the current complex society? Dharma has a role in any time of the country, any time in the human society. Without Dharma, we will not be able to manage at all. Legislations are failing to produce or to deliver a good governance. If you ask me, Dharma alone will succeed. It is the lack of Dharma. Some of the differences between the two, I would like to say, legislation is promulgated and enforced. But in the promulgation as well as in the enforcement, you must have a dharmic mind for the purpose. Otherwise, you will not be able to evolve the right Dharma. The Lokpal bill, while it was being introduced, what all things happened there? And what happened to the Delhi Assembly? Even in the introduction stage, it was defeated and the ministry resigned. Was there any harm in it? Just imagine. So, the nature of law is promulgation and enforcement. Dharma is discovered, revealed and disseminated. There is no law like that. I am not going to enforce upon you anything. But I will tell you something which you should definitely covet to have, which is undeniable in its nature. Laws are very specific, particular and local. And Dharma is very general, comprehensive and eternal. The law and order deals with only the effectual situations, not the causal center. Dharma takes into consideration the mind, intelligence, ego and the beyond and tries to appeal, evoke responses from there. Law is generally piecemeal, narrow and short-living. That is why we have, every year we are passing laws. Is there any finality? Every year we have to pass laws. After some time many of the laws will be put together and a rewriting will be done. It goes on, goes on. Dharma is to be revealed, and once it is revealed it becomes eternal, eternal. In the case of Dharma, what works? Dharma is instilling. It is infusional introspection on the one hand, irresistible correction we have in the hands of Dharma, and it has a powerful persuasion. All are relating to the mind. I am using two words here which I would like you to understand. Purusha Tantra and Vastu Tantra. Purusha Tantra is that which is based upon the variety of individuals. You are going to a temple, there is a stone there. People go there and see God in the idol. Seeing God in the idol stone, that is left to the man of devotee, the devotion. It is a Purusha Tantra. On the other hand, you look at the moon and some people say there are two moons. Are there two or only one? So there cannot be any dispute. So that is Vastu Tantra. There is only one moon in the sky, and whoever looks at it and finds it as two, it is an irregularity of the perceiver. So Dharma is Vastu Tantra, not Purusha Tantra. So it will start working and remaining forceful at every point of time. Our present laws are ineffective. That ineffectiveness I explained to you, to some extent at least. We had the 15th Parliament recently. In the 15th Parliament, at the end of the session, do you know what are the arithmetical figures we have? Only 63% of their time were utilized for sessions. Do you understand the gravity of what I am saying? Huh? The Parliament, the law-making body, whom we have elected and sent, who are making laws for all the subjects to conform to adhere to, that law-making body has wasted 37% of the time for the sessions. The crucial part of the session was not telecast at all, giving some kind of a plea or the other. We are the people who have elected the representatives. How they conduct their function, do we not have a right to know? Why is it that it was blocked? Some engineering trouble, telecast trouble, electronic trouble, etc. And what all happened there, don't think that you can close the eyes of the people. Let us be very, very clear. Cannot the electors see the behavior of the elected? We must also have the right to recall them. Why is it that we are not passing a bill to recall them? In the Western countries, recalling powers are also there. We have the power to reject a candidate, to accept and promote a candidate, to re-elect a candidate. All these are powers that should be given. But why is it that they are not given? They don't have the dharmic propulsion to do it. Do you know the expenses of the Parliament? Every minute costs 2.5 lakhs of rupees. So 37% of the time not utilized means multiplied by minutes and 2.5 lakhs. How much will be there? At the end of the parliamentary session, the report is that 74 bills were pending. आप लोग सुन रहे हैं क्या? Are you hearing me? Please tell me whether law can save the land. No, not at all. Not at all. Let us be very clear. Law versus dharma, the question is very important. Dharmic enlightenment and adherence alone will save the society. Our parliamentarians should start feeling the call of dharma, the compulsion of dharma, compulsion of dharma. The Prevention of Corruption Act 1988 will become fruitful, effective and benedictory only when there is sufficient dharmic exhortation, dharmic revelation, dharmic propulsion, compulsion, persuasion and impetus. Can we generate this? Can we generate this? Why is it that we are lacking dharma? If you ask me, the trouble started not now, my dear souls. It started right in the Constituent Assembly. In 1946, when the Constituent Assembly was formed, there was no cultural or dharmic representative member there. My heart is bleeding. They treated India to be a geographical subcontinent, mere earth. They did not recognize that India had the longest living society. And they had documented literature right from the prehistoric times, Vedas and the Upanishads, then Ramayana and Mahabharata. I never refer to mythological things. Dharma is not a mythological indulgence nor a speculative flair. Dharma is a rational, systematic, scientific discovery, realization and revelation. So in the Constituent Assembly, nobody was there to raise the spiritual voice, the cultural voice of the country. They refused to call our country the motherland. The motherland. No such reference is there. No reference to God is there. I have no objection. But Dharma should be there. It is this country, at the wake of independence, took the motto Satyameva Jayate. To be true to that, should they not have clung to, adhere to the cultural treasure of the land? Please answer me if you have a mind to answer. I am not speaking ill of anybody. They wrote down the constitution imbibing from Irish constitution and the Western laws. We are Orientalists, you should understand. They are Western people and we are Eastern people. We may not have that much of external civilization, but internal civilization we have much more than that, what they cannot dream of. Dharmic tenets are very, very indispensable. You may ask me whether such dharma is possible in the present day. My answer is yes. I would like to quote some instances before you. Lal Bahadur Shastri was a railway minister. We had an Ariyallur rail accident in which 125 people died. Immediately Lal Bahadur Shastri resigned. What is the relationship between the two? An accident happened somewhere in the corner of the country. Why should the railway minister resign? But he resigned. Nehru accepted the resignation. But here is the observation made by Nehru. I am accepting the resignation because it would set an example in constitutional propriety, not because Shastri was in any way responsible for the accident. There was a Shastri to do it. Mind you, he did not lose. He won all the more. He became the Prime Minister of India. You tell me whether honesty pays or not. Tell me. Is only a Rama who could abandon? There was a young surgeon who was speaking to me. I said, whenever I think of conducting an operation on a patient, I ask a question. If it were my son, would I choose operation or will I manage with plaster? A surgeon told me. Do I have to speak more? Huh? T.N. Chaturvedi was the Comptroller and Auditor General. He was the Governor of Karnataka. For a time, he was the Governor of Kerala also. He was the person who wrote the report, the CAG report on Bofors. His officers worked day and night for 2 years and produced the report. When he was about to write the report, Rajiv Gandhi was the Prime Minister. He called for him. Please answer me. If you were, what will you do? He said, I will not go. Whatever the Prime Minister has to say, let him give me in writing. I will not write a strong word in the report. I will be moderate. But I have to present my report before the Parliament. My team of officers have worked very hard. He called the officers and asked, though I am going to sign the report, you have produced it. What do you want me to do? Sir, you should sign and send. He went to Haridwar, spent 3 days and came back and then signed the report and sent. Don't tell me it is impossible. It is your heart that resents. Don't think of the probability or possibility. It is certainly possible. The simple little country called Singapore, when Lee Kuan Yew was the Prime Minister there, one of the ministers gave a letter of recommendation to a contractor who had to get a contract from another ministry. The Prime Minister came to know of it. He called the minister, resign, and he resigned. He was discredited forever. In the judicial history, we have something very important. In 1975, when Indira Gandhi's election was invalidated, it was Justice Jagmohan Lal Sinha who wrote the verdict. When they came to know that the verdict is going to be, the high-ups moved to him and told him, we will consider you for promotion, this, promotion, that, etc., etc. He did not budge an inch. He invalidated the verdict. It was following that Indira Gandhi declared that emergency, etc. Some of you at least must be remembering, is it not? Tell me whether it is possible or not. Now let us go back to Dasharatha. Dasharatha wanted to anoint Sri Rama as the crown prince, but he did not do it. Though we had a monarchical system, that monarchy system was much more a democracy than you can think of now. The democratic voice was administered loyally, faithfully, with Dharmic confidence by the kings. So he convened an assembly in which tribal representatives were there. Then he asked, whom? I am not able to run, I want to have a crown prince. Who is your choice? All of them suddenly said Rama. The conversation is further, I am not reporting it now, I don't have time also. This you should understand, that this is what happened. Rama's forest exile, when Kaigeyi called him and said, you have to go. You have to go. I always ask children and the others, what will you do when you are asked like that? All people will say, I will not go, I will not go. But if it were children, one child gets up to say, I will go. I don't know how you will respond. I am not going to put it to vote here and cause a discomfiture for you. See, Rama said, only this much. Only this much. Evamastu gamishyami vanam vastum aham tvidaha jadajana dharo rajnaha pratijnam anupalayan. He abandoned the royal silk and he adopted the bark. Are you not having horripilation? Just see, he threw away the royal silk and he took the bark and he went to the forest. He said, give me time to talk to my mother and the others, assuage them, and I will go away before the sun sets. This is what Rama said. He did not act under a law. Everybody told him, don't do it. Even Vasishtha told him, your father is enamored of the youngest wife. Put him into prison and sit on the throne. Every time it was a hurdle race for him. His courage and heroism and stoicness started increasing. Then Bharata came, many things happened, and there was a dialogue between the two. This dialogue took place in Chitrakuta. Nobody would have known it. An ascetic Valmiki wrote about it. Thereby it became the culture and character of the land. Am I telling you some sense or nonsense? Am I telling you some sense or nonsense? Our history occupies only the bookshelves. We leave the history within the gates of the school and college and come away. But this is imbibed. In the month of Karkadaga, Ashadha Masa in Kerala, particularly Ramayana is even now read with fidelity, fondness and devout devotion. What do you think of it? Both of them entered into a discussion. My mother snatched the kingdom in my absence. So it is not applicable to me, I must have been present. If she snatched it for herself, I have nothing to say, but it was for me to sit, so I should have been present. So the kingdom, I don't want, it doesn't become of me. Suppose you say it belongs to me, I place it at your feet, please come. Rama heard it. You become dearer, I am telling you in a very short manner, you are dearer to me. But the fact remains, we have three different mothers, one common father who is no more available. He had said he is no more available to amend his statement. For the remaining 14 years, Let the umbrella of the Ayodhya throne shield you and shade you. Let Dandakaranya forests and creepers give me the shade for the rest of 14 years, he said. This was a personal conversation and dialogue in the presence of a lot of ministers and citizenly chiefs. Nobody would have known about it. The ascetic pen of Valmiki discussed and described the whole episode. It became a cultural force of permeation in this country. This is what ascetics can do. Please understand it. There came the time. After all, then Bharata, what did he say? He said, I will take your sandals and put them on the throne and I will rule. I will never enter Ayodhya. I will rule from Nandigrama for 14 years. The next day, if you will not have arrived, I will jump into the fire. Right at that time, Sri Rama returned. You generally have heard something like this. A washerman said something and therefore Rama abandoned. Please correct. It is just like our Mahabali episode of Kerala. It's all nonsense. Nowhere written. The intelligence staff came and he was asking. Initially they were reluctant, so he went near him and asked them, what is the news? Tell me. Evam bahuvitha vajo vadanti puravasinaha nagareshu cha sarveshu rajan janapadeshu cha. This is not the single talk of a stray individual. This is the talk of Puravasis, citizenly people. Nagareshu, in Nagaras. Sarveshu janapadeshu, in all other assembly places, people are talking about it. After hearing it, he says, Paureshu soham bahuli bhavantam apantarangeshviva tailabindum sodhum natatpurvam avarnamishe alanigam sthanumivadvipendraha. This is just like a drop of oil in a huge lake. It is spreading and spreading. I cannot tolerate it. My Ikshvaku Vamsha is incorruptible, unscrupulously virtuous. I cannot afford to cost any aspersion on it. Therefore, I cannot tolerate it. I will not tolerate. I know that Janaki is absolutely pure. It was a precaution or precautionary measure that I asked my brother to make her enter into the fire bath, etc. In spite of it, this is happening. I cannot sit on the throne at all. Avaimi chaina managedi gintu logapavado balavan matome chaya hi bhume shashino malatvena arobida shuddhimata prajabhihi. His royal weddedness overtook his personal bond. Marriage was a personal affair. Kingship is something entirely different. There were two options before him. Leave the throne and go with Sita. Or sit on the throne and leave Sita. In contrast, what did Edward VIII do? And Edward VIII was the Emperor of India. Emperor of India to marry an American lady who had already divorced once, and the second divorce had not taken place fully. He decided to marry her. The Prime Minister went and told him it is not going to be acceptable, and he was about the point of resigning. Then he said, I abdicate the throne. I have got the paper where he has written that I am abdicated the throne, the Emperor of India. A king of India did this, and the Emperor of India did something else. Whether Dharma has got the persuasion, I will recite one more story and then stop. Are you ready? See, there was a great poet and king called Bhoja by name. His father died. So the father's younger brother Muncha ruled the throne. He found this boy, coming up boy, intelligent and a threat. So he engaged his military people, asked them to carry him to the forest, kill him and show him the blood. So they took him to the forest and then said, this is our command, we are going to kill you. Okay, please yourself. But here is a message for the king, and he wrote a message. Personal stories are the prevailing influence. Mandhata samahipati kridayugalankara bhuto gata seduryena mahodadhau virajita kwasau dashasyantaka anye chavi yudhishthira prabhutayo yadadivam bhupade naigena avisamam gata vasumadi nunam tvaya yasyadi. It's a beautiful verse. This is our culture. This is cultural and characteral India. This is our India, and not what just the newspapers report. This is India. We only have a history of kings and rulers. We have no history of the people whom they ruled. If there were no people, there could not be a ruler at all. Our Dharma embraces the ruler and the ruled alike. He says, there was a great person, emperor by name Mandhada. He was an ornament to the Krita Yuga. He also left. The great Sri Ramachandra Mahaprabhu, who constructed a pathway, a causeway to Lanka, he also has gone. Yudhishthira and the others in Treta Yuga, in Dwapara Yuga, they also have gone. With none of them, the kingdom, the earth they ruled went. But when you die, the earth will follow you. Do you understand? Just see the message. Nunam naigena avisamam gata vasumadi. Vasumadi, earth, has not gone along with all of them. But when you are going to drop your body, this Vasundhara will come along with you. It was given to the king. Have you killed the boy? No. Then what is this blood? We killed an animal. Please go and bring him. He accepted him, gave him the kingdom. This is how Dharma works. Dharma's persuasion is internal and internal. Understand it very well. So what do you have to do? The message for today will be, this Dharma should become a revelation. It should become the call and persuasion for everybody. Expose the children to that at home as well as in their classes, primary and kindergarten and other classes. Let there be enough of Ramas and Pandavas in us. Let us invite even fractional percentages of these cultural, historic examples that we have. In the college levels, in the school levels, in the university levels, in all levels, this Dharma should become a kind of a permeation, and whatever arrangements are necessary should be made. In administrative, managerial, ministerial, judiciary levels, sufficient and regular training and exposure should be had. People should take up an oath that I shall not do anything adverse to the growth and development of the nation. I shall be governed by Dharmic integrity, Dharmic adherence, Dharmic persuasion, and Dharmic elegance. This kind of a persuasion should be there, and the subject should be discussed. The word Dharma is not a religious word. As I mentioned to you, it is a combination of disciplines, values, internal impetus, regulation, reformation, refinement, all leading to crowning fulfillment of human life. What we want. Let the laws be there. Parallelly, let Dharmic revelation, Dharmic exposure, Dharmic exhortation also be there. If we are able to hold both of them together, the country and the public, the governance can be saved. This is what I have to say, at least briefly. See, for all this Dharmic pursuit, Dharmic dissemination, everything, individual mind and intelligence are the focus. We have 120 crores of people in the country. The entire population is individually born as a single child from the single mother. It is individuals that constitute families, social segments, nation as well as the globe. So the implanting of Dharma should be done in this individual mind. If one individual becomes wrong, it is like a cell getting infected in the body. So never think whether others are Dharmic or not. Be Dharmic yourself individually. That is the most important point. And when in Allahabad, so many people, a few people met for liberating the country, people started mocking them. Where is the strong hand, the tiger hand of British Empire? And where are you, a few people in India? Can you liberate India? But what happened? The movement started growing and growing. 90 years it took. It started from 1857. Ultimately, only when the spiritual Dharma started adorning the platforms of Mahatma Gandhi's prayer meeting, people started flocking in hundreds and thousands, and a tremendous force was generated. When the Britishers called him the half-naked fakir, he said, "Your 10 guns can travel only a few meters. My sound and voice can travel 8,000 miles, he said. It went to the British eyes. This is the power of Dharma. A single Draupadi brought discomfiture to the entire Kuru assembly. It was not many. Understand it very well. Let there be this individual resolve, commitment, individual resolve, that fidelity and weldedness to Dharma. If 10 such people can join together, it is an insurmountable force you can never imagine. Our country is a great country where the most powerful Prime Minister was defeated in her own home constituency. In Delhi, what we have seen is a landslide change, victory. What is this? In spite of our so many mistakes, we are still capable of expressing our resolve. So never underrate yourself. Underrate the Indian community. Understand it very well. I embrace all of you mentally. I also bless you. Let there be noble and great children born to your family, further and further. Children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, etc., etc. Let every child love the family, love the society, have faith in God, faith in oneself. Let everyone contribute maximum to the welfare, the cohesion, and the progress and fulfillment of the country. I bless you all for that. Kartavyamasti na mameha na kinchideva stadavyamityadi manah bhuvi samstidosmi samshantaya sadada sutta dhiyaiva vritya karyam karomi naja kinchidaham karomi karyam karomi naja kinchidaham karomi karyam karomi naja kinchid aham karomi. May every one of you be a Dharmic votary, enrich and empower the nation there. Herein. Om Jai.